Let's put in a little bit of decoration just to keep those apart. We'll just put some lines across there, about like so. I'll try and select that line now and change the color to the same nice yellow. Great. Now let's just select that line and hit copy and paste. And paste. And now let's hide the buttons and try and select just those lines. It's going to be difficult actually. Hit shift and click on them to select them, and then go up to the align tool again and align them to the left, and the distribute vertically to make sure that they're spaced evenly, and that should be fine. Turn our buttons back on and see if they line up. Let's select these again by hitting shift and clicking on them, and then just move them a little bit. I should probably adjust my snapping properties here. Whatever. That's good enough. Okay, now we don't want that free floating on the background. Right now, if we move our memory background, those lines stay where they are. That's not what we want, so we'll just select them here, shift, 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 and cut. And let's jump right into, double click on it and jump right into the MC start screen movie clip. And there should be a paste in place. Drop those right into the movie clip, and now if we move that around, the lines go with it. Back at 0 by 0. Great. Make my buttons visible. Great. Alright, that looks fine. Now let's go ahead and make our help screen. We'll just go to the help screen layer and go down, say, 30 frames in the timeline, and insert a keyframe. We want that not to overlap with our start screen. We'll make another new symbol, movie clip. Make sure it's movie clip. We'll call this one MC help screen. And we'll do much the same thing as our background for the start screen. We'll grab a rectangle. We'll make sure that we take the stroke off, the little pencil there, set that to the white box with the red line through it. Means there won't be a outline around it. And let's make help blue, sure. Great, we'll draw that. Do the same thing, make it 550, 400 at 0 by 0. And go back into the color, change it from a solid to a gradient. Linear, you can of course do a radial gradient. Let's zoom in there so you can see it a bit. Where it's dark in the middle, let's make it a bit more pronounced. And light on the outside, you see? Alright, we want this one to be sort of blue. Let's make it linear again. And use the linear transform, gradient transform tool to crank that around, dark on top again. Let's make the bottom part just a little bit less dark. Just a little bit. Not that much. Fine. Again, we're going to want our memory logo up on there. This time we'll just throw it up in the top corner. Now that we've got that up there, again, use the free transform tool. Size that. Just a bit of a reminder that this is the same memory game. I'll just leave it in the top corner. And again, we'll tint it up. This time with a bit of a blue. Great. We want some help text. Let's make that yellow again because yellow stands out. Kerning can be fine. We want it to be static text. And we'll just say and copy that and paste and paste and paste. Great. Select the tool and we can move that around so it sits there. Let's bring it up a little bit because we're going to want an OK button underneath there. So let's go to the help button and duplicate that again, and this time it'll be B OK button and not a copy. And again, double click on that on the icon to edit it. Text editor, go to the text field, and just make it OK. same thing 3 times. Now the hit area we can make a little bit smaller. If we go to our select tool and resize that down a little bit, there we see it's 48 by 50. So we can just go to our hit area, click on that box, and just make it 48. Done. Back to scene 1. Actually, back to our MC help screen, double click on it, make it visible zoom, and throw the OK button in the bottom there. Fine and dandy. You can of course move all these things around to your heart's content, but for now we're going to say that that's fine. Back to scene 1, back into that keyframe that we made in our help screen, and drop the help screen right on there. Line it up at 0 by 0, and that looks fine. And let's test it. So we see a quick flash of the start screen, and then a quick flash of the help screen, and a whole bunch of white space in between. That's not really what we want, so what we're going to do is hit the new layer button, and I'm going to drag this layer up to the top just because that's where I like it, and I'm going to call it code. And what we're going to do is put a stop command. If I hit the F9 key, that's also what I use for my screencast, so I'm not going to use it now, but F9 will bring up the actions panel, which is a little large here, but we just want to put in stop semicolon, because ActionScript 2 will let you get away with not using things like semicolons, but ActionScript 3 not so much. With that dropped up in the top there, we can just double click on the tab to see what we have going on. Makes it a little bit cramped right now, but you see this A here in the timeline tells us that there's something on that frame. We're also going to go over here to frame 30 and do the same thing. If I put in a keyframe there at 30, insert keyframe, and then go up to my actions frame there, there's nothing, so we'll put in stop semicolon. Great, shrink that. Now we have a little A over that keyframe. In order to be able to navigate, now if we test it, it'll just go to the first screen and sit there. The buttons look pretty, but they don't do anything because we have this stop. So what we're going to want to do is go to our buttons layer where we have our handy dandy buttons and pick just one of them, say the help button. We're going to go down here to the properties and give it an instance name, and we're going to call it the help button. You want to keep your instance names something that you can remember. You'll be using them a lot in your script. Same thing, the play button. Great. Now we'll go back up to our code layer, and we're going to have to do into the actions frame some ActionScript 3 listener events. So what we need to do first is the instance that we want to react, in this case the help button, and we need to add an event listener, and we need to define what kind of event it needs to listen for, and that event is going to be click, and then close those quotes, give it a comma, and the function that it's going to be. So I'm going to call this help click function. Actually, let's call it F help click. Great, so we know it's a function, and then close off those brackets, throw on the semicolon, and we go down here and make the function, make sure you have the right number of quotes, there, much better. Function F help click, and we're going to make that listen for the E mouse event. Great. Use the curly brackets to open our function, and this is going to simply go to and play frame. What frame is our help on? 30, semicolon, and close that with the curly brackets. That'll be great.